Supervisor, Mr. Radhakrishna, is accompanying Honorable Director to inspect the Guard of Honor.
शुभ्रज्योत्स्ना पुलकितयामिनी पुल्लकुसुमित द्रुमदलशोभिनी सुहासिनी सुमधुरभाषिणी सुखदां वरदां मातरं वन्दे मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्.
The inspection of Guard of Honor is now completed. Honorable Director Professor C.S.P. Rao is escorted to the dais by the Department of Security of NIT Andhra Pradesh. This parade is being conducted under ex-serviceman, Department of Security, National Institute of Technology, Andhra Pradesh.
Samman Guard Parade! Vishram!
Honorable Chief Guest Professor C.S.P. Rao is now making his way to the flagstaff where he will unfold the national flag.
Samman Guard Parade! Sabdan! Samman Guard Parade! Ichevat! Samman Guard Parade! Samne select!
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण वंदन दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Samman Guard Parade! Salute down! Samman Guard Parade! Ichevat! Up! Samman Guard Parade! Vishram! Samman Guard Parade! 3 में दाहिने बाएं मुड़ेगा दाहिने बाएं बट परेड 3 में सामने से तेज चल Samman Guard Parade! Ichevat!
I take this opportunity to thank Mr. K. Srinivas and the Department of Security, NIT Andhra Pradesh for their stellar performance. On this occasion of 73rd Republic Day, I request Honorable Director Professor C.S.P. Rao to present the garland to portrait of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Father of Constitution. I request everyone to please sit their chairs. May I now request Honorable Director Professor C.S.P. Rao to kindly deliver the Republic Day address.
Good morning, one and all present here. I am very glad to address this gathering on the occasion of 73rd Republic Day of our nation. My greetings to all of you on 73rd Republic Day. I am very happy many of you are present here to attend the celebrations of the 73rd Republic Day of our nation, despite of surging COVID cases in the campus. It testifies your love and devotion to your motherland. 72 years ago, on this very day, we the people of India adopted, enacted, and gave ourselves a unique constitution. Now is the time to pause and ponder over the core values of that constitution performance. High values such as justice, equal justice, liberty, equality, and fraternity are outlined in the preamble of our constitution. Our strict adherence to these visionary guidelines help us to live a harmonious and peaceful life. A galaxy of leaders and thinkers such as Balagangadhar Tilak, Lala Lajpat Rai, Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, and many others who inspired our freedom struggle. They had diverse dreams of magnification of future of our motherland, but common to their aspirations were those core values of our constitution. India stands tall even in the face of pandemic, taking on the mantle of pharmacy of the world. Our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, reiterated that India's commitment to global health challenge in the G17 summit, emphasizing on the approach, One Earth, One Health. India healthcare is undoubtedly received global recognition. Modi ji has time and again pointed out that Indians definition of wellness is not limited to physical boundaries. At the time when even developed nations' healthcare systems struggled before the pandemic, our nation exported life-saving medicines and medical equipment to more than 150 countries. In no time, the whole world will direct its focus towards our nation as our nation is scaling up as a leader in drug discovery and innovation medical devices. India is least affected by the COVID, which has come in different waveforms. COVID wave 1, wave 2, and wave 3 presently we are all facing. And the COVID is being defeated by Indian culture and its commitment or our lifestyle. On the occasion of Swami Vivekananda Jayanti, which celebrated as the National Youth Day, our Prime Minister expressed his unstinting trust of the youth of India. Dear students, and they are all young teachers and the stakeholders of this institution, the world is yours, and you should feel proud that you were born in India and are growing up in India. The youth have been given much deserved attention by the present Indian government, and the prime example is the appointment of scientists who are aged less than 35 years are taking leadership in the DRDO and important strategic decisions right from the research to management, particularly in the DRDO organizations. Young scientists laboratories, the Indian government believes the future of India lies in the hands of its youth. This does not come just as a litany, but it is put into practice in every sense. We can be proud that our nation is one among the top 3 nations to make a mark on the startup ecosystem. Our nation is progressively, rapidly taking giant strides in terms of innovation and research, launching 26,000 new startups since 2010. Presently, we have up to 2020, it is 22,000. Now it is 26,000 new startups indeed. Out of which some unicorn startups, you may be knowing that unicorn startup is $1 billion company. And only 83 unicorns were started in 2020 and 21 in India, whereas China is has 800 companies started in unicorn companies were started, whereas America is the first one, and second is China, and third is India in the global scenario. India has achieved it is because of sheer dedication and hard work of the youth. Dear students, you are all living in a nation that is youth friendly. Gone are the days of veterans. Our nation is proud, and young bloods are using their brains to tackle problems and provide solutions. It does not mean young means not with respect to age. The youngness is with respect to mind. I can proudly say that I am as younger as like you, because though my age is nearing 60, but I am feeling like I am just in 30s. Our nation is proud that young bloods are using their brains and tackle the problems. India pays heed to your words and ideas. Government of India has launched various schemes to empower and support youth of our country. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana is launched to keep in mind young entrepreneurs. Government of India initiatives like Startup India, Stand Up India, Fit India campaign, and Khelo India have been launched for bringing the youth to the limelight. The students who get into our institution are full of enthusiasm and energy. It is our duty to divert this energy in optimistic way and transform them from students in the classrooms to achievers and contributors to the various domains in the nation. On this occasion, I wish to share with you all that NIT Andhra Pradesh, though being the youngest NIT, is taking up directed and focused efforts to be a leader in offering world-class education and strong promoter of Indian values and ethics to the students of the institution. At this point, I am glad to share that we are observing virtual Surya Namaskars program for a period of 21 days in Kantinam from 24th January to 13th February. I request you all to take part in this event actively because the government has given the call to complete 75 crores of Surya Namaskars. If at least if all of us participate in the daily program of from 7 to 7:30 along with our physical education, we could complete 1 lakh asanas in these 21 days. Please participate. I request all of you to participate and promote the Surya Namaskar culture. Once it is habituated, suppose if we perform for 21 days, it becomes a habit, and if we continue the Surya Namaskars after that, I think we would be better in health and our activeness will increase automatically. National Education Policy NEP 2020 has also been framed to suit the requirements of the present youth. NEP focus on the holistic development. NEP gives utmost importance to each year of the study, and that is the reason why it offers even multiple exit options. NEP throws the door opens for the students to realize their potential and strength. This judicious policy, if taken in the right spirit and vigor, can help mold multi-talented youth. NIT Andhra Pradesh designed its curriculum based on NEP recommendations, and our students will reap to its fruits. I congratulate Dean Academic Affairs for his continuous efforts and also all the heads of the department for their continuous efforts in bringing up the best NEP curriculum to be implemented in our institution. Technical knowledge alone is not sufficient to lead a harmonious life. NEP stresses on the importance of value education and ethics and emphasis on the need to develop qualities like sublime thoughts, patience, tolerance, non-violence, compassion, love for the nature, etc. 2021 a productive year for NIT Andhra Pradesh. We have been proactive in terms of our teaching, learning, activities and research. All the departments and schools put together have organized a plethora of programs ranging from FPPs, workshops to invited talks, including the symposium on NEP. Joint convocation of second and third batch of our students was successfully organized on 13th November. Our training and placement cell has striven hard to improve the placements rate, and our students could buy good offers. I congratulate the Dean Training and Placement and Associate Dean Training and Placements for their continuous efforts in increasing the percentage of the placements year by year. Our campus is full-fledged now to cater to the needs of the students, and we follow strict COVID protocols in our campus. I urge you to take all precautionary measures to make yourself safe. Make the best of your stay in the campus. On this occasion, I would like to thank and congratulate our Dean Planning and Development for his continuous hard work in putting up the campus in order. He has been, designing the campus from time to time, along with the help of executive engineers. So I congratulate them on this occasion. As nation is celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, be an active participant in fulfilling the vision of New India. As budding engineers, channelize your potential to make India self-reliant. I would like to quote the words of our beloved Prime Minister Modi ji in this regard. Ideate in innovate in India, make for the world, discover your true strength and serve the world. NIT Andhra Pradesh has undertaken giant strides in terms of research. Our faculty members have organized several faculty development programs and workshops in our institution. Faculty members have published nearly 200 research papers, which includes publications in journals of international repute such as Nature, Springer, Elsevier, IEEE publications. On this occasion, I would like to thank and congratulate all the heads of the departments for initiating the research culture in the respective departments and encouraging the youngsters to do research and publish papers. 4 books and 45 book chapters have been authored by the members of the faculty. The total number of webinars through FDP's workshops are 223, which is a record among technical institutions. 16 sponsored research projects worth 45 million rupees were received from nation funding agencies such as DST, SAVE, IUAC, etc. I would like to congratulate and thank Dean Research and Consultancy for his continuous efforts in encouraging the faculty to propose projects and getting the projects. I request this effort must be enhanced to get at least one project per individual faculty member so that we will be rich in resources and the research ecosystem, a better research ecosystem would exist in our campus. I am glad that our institute has awarded with a funding of 5 crores for the creation of common research technology development hub in renewable energy sector. Several memorandum of understandings are initiated by research and consultancy wing of the institution, to name a few, with Skylark Labs, LinkedIn, Regional Academic Center for Space, NIT Surat, DRDO, IIT Kanpur, IIT Mumbai, NHAI, Seagates Private Limited, etc. in this current academic year. I congratulate training and placement team to achieve 100% placements for the year 2021 and 22, and the average pay is also getting increased from the year to year, and it is around 8 lakhs LPA, 8 lakhs per annum. So I once again congratulate the team training and placements. One individual may die for an idea, but that idea will, after his death, incarnate itself in 1,000 lives, says Subhash Chandra Bose. Institute is focusing a lot in startups. We are in the process of conducting idea hackathons, design thinking workshops, innovation incubation of practical ideas, patent coverage, patent filing, and institute also space and some startup grant for those who nurture startups. Let us cherish the great contributions of great people through Azadi Ki Amrit Mahotsav and respect their contributions and uphold their commitments to this great nation. At this juncture, I would like to thank Dean, Students' Welfare, and an in-charge chairperson of sports activity, Dr. Kiran Tripathi, for doing all arrangements for motivating the students with respect to Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, are motivating the students to contribute their might to the institution in most of the activities. These students' affairs also very actively involved in arrangement of such kind of functions here in our with the help of SAS department and security. And I thank all of you for your contributions at this junction. At the last but not least, I thank my right hand, the registrar of this institution, Dr. Dinesh P. Shankar Reddy. I think he is an youngster, but he had a lot of vision, lot of knowledge. I've been digging out that knowledge and has been using for the benefit of this institution. So I thank Dinesh Reddy, and I pray God to give him 100 years long life to do his service to this institution. Let us all join in hands in celebrating the culture and history of this nation. Jai Hind!
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights and your words of appreciation. I request the members of the audience a round of applause to our Honorable Director for his charismatic speech. Bharat Ki Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is an initiative of the Government of India to commemorate 75 glorious years of progressive India and its rich history, diverse population, magnificent culture and great achievements.
On this occasion, we would like to present about our unsung heroes of the nation.
Uyalavada Narasimha Reddy. Telugu soil has seen some brave freedom fighters who have given enough push in the Indian independence struggle. In the early colonial rule, British rulers oppressed the Indian rulers in their expansion mode. They fleeced the local rulers and chieftains to forcefully collect the taxes from people. Many feared to revolt. But some of them came forward to fight the injustice. One such ruler was Uyalavada Narasimha Reddy of Rayalaseema region. He was born around early 1800s to the local Zamindari family in the present Kurnool district on the banks of Kundi river. He is one of the earliest freedom fighters in India. The Rayalaseema region was transferred to the British by the Nizam, and Reddy refused to pay taxes directly to the British. On 10 June 1846, he raided the treasury of Koilakuntla and marched towards Khambam, Andhra Pradesh. On the way at Rudravaram, he killed the forest ranger. This being a serious matter, the then collector Thomas Monroe issued orders to arrest him. Reddy, with his army, mounted a serious attack on the British forces camped at Giddaluru on 23rd July 1846 and defeated them. Unable to capture him, the British deceptively imprisoned his family at Kadapa. Narasimha Reddy moved to Nalamalla forest to save his family, but the British forces were tipped off by someone about the hideout of Mr. Reddy. The East India Company put heavy fetters on him and paraded him right in the streets of Koilgundla before his people with blood-stained cloths so that it would be a warning to them. The Special Commissioner of Kadapa conducted the trial, and Narasimha Reddy was charged with revolt, murder and being a decoy and was convicted on all charges. He was publicly hanged on 22nd February 1847 on the banks of nearby river in the presence of Collector Cochrane. His head was kept on the fort wall in public view for 30 years from 1847 to 1877 to instill fear in the people so that another rebellion won't be tried by others against the British.
Kittur Chennamma. Kittur Chennamma was the Indian Queen of Kittur, a princely state in Karnataka. She led an armed resistance against the British East India Company in 1824 in defiance of the doctrine of lapse in an attempt to maintain Indian control over the region, in which she defeated them, but she was died in the imprisonment of Second Rebellion by the British East India Company. One of the first female rulers to rebel against British rule. She became a folk hero in Karnataka and symbol of independence movement in India.
Surya Sen. Surya Sen, also called Surya Kumar Sen, was an Indian revolutionary who was influential in the Indian independence movement against British rule in India and is best known for leading the 1930 Chittagong Armory raid. Sen was a school teacher by profession and was popularly known as Master Da. He was influenced by the nationalist ideals in 1916 while he was a student of BA in Behrampur College. In 1918, he was selected as president of the Indian National Congress Chittagong branch. Sen was known for recruiting a group of young and passionate revolutionaries known as the Chittagong Group, including Ananta Singh, Ganesh Ghosh, and Lokanath Bal, who fought against the British stationed in Chittagong. He was an active participant in the non-cooperation movement and was later arrested and imprisoned for 2 years from 1926 to 1928 for his revolutionary activities. A brilliant and inspirational organizer, Sen was fond of saying, "Humanism is a special virtue of the revolutionary." After the Chittagong raid in 1930 and a fierce battle where over 80 British troops and 12 revolutionaries were killed, Sen and other surviving revolutionaries dispersed into small groups and hid in neighboring villages, launching raids on government personnel and property. Sen was arrested on 16 February 1933, tried and was hanged on 12 January 1934. Many of his fellow revolutionaries were also caught and sentenced to long-term periods of imprisonment.
Brigadier Rajinder Singh Jamwal. Brigadier Rajinder Singh Jamwal, also remembered as the savior of Kashmir, was an officer in the Jammu and Kashmir State Forces who died fighting during the Indo-Pakistani War of 1947 to 1948. He and his troops held on their position in Uri for 3 days from 23rd October 1947 to 26th October. They repelled waves of enemy attack and stood until the last bullet. On 27th October 1947, the Maharaja of Kashmir signed the instrumentation of annexation with India. Indian troops quickly rushed in to support Brigadier Rajinder Singh. These 3 days were crucial because if Srinagar would have fallen, then Kashmir might never have been part of India. Brigadier Rajinder Singh was honored posthumously with Mahavir Chakra by Army Chief Field Marshal K.M. Kariappa on 30th December 1949.
Kanaganti Hanumantu. Kanaganti Hanumantu was a freedom fighter who rebelled against British rule and spearheaded the Palnadu rebellion against tax. It was against the draconian Pulari tax that Hanumantu led the revolt as part of Gandhiji's non-cooperation movement. Leading a group of youth, Hanumantu led the revolt against the British in Palnadu. The masses came out in full support. Women, older people blessed him as he took on the British head-on, giving them sleepless nights with his constant opposition. Hanumantu became a thorn in the flesh of the British as all their strategies came to naught against him. With Gandhiji suspending the non-cooperation movement, Hanumantu too agreed to pay tax. Around the same time, with the Mahashivratri festivities at Kottapakonda taking place, Kanaganti Hanumantu along with many of his followers left to take part in Prabalu procession, leaving only women and children behind in Minchipanadu village. Taking advantage of his absence, the British surrounded the village and began to take away the cattle there forcibly, beating up the elder and women with their rifle butts, but they tried to persist. On hearing the news, Hanumantu rushed to his village and pleaded with the British to stop harassing the residents. In spite of Hanumantu promising to pay the Pulhari tax and requesting the Britishers not to harass his people, it was the village Kannam who betrayed Hanumantu, pointing him out to the British as they surrounded him and began to fight on him. Even as Kanaganti Hanumantu kept pleading with the British that they would be paying the tax, they kept firing at him. Not once or thrice, but 26 times as his cries rent their air. His loyal farmhand, Elamapalli Sheshayya too was shot dead brutally. Hanumantu died pleading for mercy. So brutal were the British that even when he asked for water, they stopped the villagers from giving it to him. For close to 6 hours, Kanaganti Hanumantu waged a life and death struggle before he breathed his last, his bullet-ridden body falling to the ground.
Moje Riba, born in Daring village, in 1911, lovingly called Aboniji, was a prominent martyr of the freedom movement. He was arrested by Britishers in 1947 for campaigning and distribution of Congress pamphlets. He was the first person from Arunachal Pradesh to hoist the national flag at Dipa village of Arunachal Pradesh on 15th August 1947. He was motivated to join the freedom movement against Britishers. In an act of supporting the freedom struggle, along with the village representatives of the Daring village, Moje Riba gathered at Dirang and decided to go to Sadia to render support. There he met Gopinath Bardoli and Lalit Hazarika. He was advised to join INC to work more and gather support for the party. Thus, he joined the Indian National Congress. After joining INC, Moje Riba became the first INC president from Arunachal Pradesh. He led his supporters in the path to the country's freedom. Riba was the first recipient of the Tamrapatra Award in 1972 at Shillong by the Government of India for his sacrifices and contribution towards the freedom struggle.
Vanchinathan. Vanchinathan was born in Shenkotai. Vanchinathan, alias Shankara Iyer, was the son of Sri Raghupati Iyer. He was studied up to primary standard and joined the forest department thereafter. He participated in revolutionary activities against the British. On 17 June 1911, Vanchi, who was 25, assassinated Robert Ashe, the district collector of Tirunelveli, who was also known as Collector Durai. He shot Ashe at point-blank range when Ashe train was stopped in Maniachi station en route to Madras. He committed suicide thereafter. The railway station has since been renamed Vanchi Maniachi. The mastermind behind the assassination was Nilakanta Brahmachari, who went around the Madras presidency in 1910 recruiting cadres and hatching plots against the British. In this venture, he was accompanied by Shankar Krishna Iyer, Vanchinathan's brother-in-law, who introduced the men to each other. Along with a few other men, Nilakanta Brahmachari, Vanchinathan and Shankar Krishna Iyer found an organization called Bharata Mata Sangam, which plotted the assassination of influential British men.
Lakshmi Sehgal. Captain Lakshmi was born in a Tamil Nadu Brahmin family, received an MBBS degree from Madras Medical College in 1938. A year later, she received her diploma in gynecology. In 1940, she left for Singapore after the failure of her marriage to pilot P.K. Rao. During her stay at Singapore, she met some members of Subhash Chandra Bose Indian National Army. In 1942, during the surrender of Singapore by British to the Japanese, Lakshmi aided wounded prisoners of war, many of whom were interested in forming an Indian independence army. Singapore at this time had several nationalist Indian workings there, including K.P. Keshav Menon, S.C. Guha, and N. Raghavan, who formed a council of action. Their Indian National Army or Azad Hind Fauj, however, received no firm commitments or approval from the occupying Japanese forces regarding their participation in the war. It was against this backdrop that Subhash Chandra Bose arrived in Singapore on 2nd July 1943. Lakshmi had heard that Bose was keen to draft women into the organization and requested a meeting with him, from which she emerged with a mandate to set up women's regiment to be called Rani of Jhansi Regiment. Women responded enthusiastically to join All Women Brigade, and Dr. Lakshmi Swaminathan became Captain Lakshmi, a name and identity that would stay with her for life. The INA marched to Burma with the Japanese army in December 1944. But by March 1945, with the tide of war turning against them, the INA leadership decided to beat a retreat before they could enter Impal. Captain Lakshmi was arrested by the British Army in May 1945, remaining in Burma until March 1946, where she was sent to India. At a time when the INA trials in Delhi heightened popular discontent with hastened the end of colonial rule.
Uruganti Mahalakshmamma, a versatile leader and braveheart freedom fighter. The unsung freedom fighter, one with a strong character and resolute fervent supporter of revolution and social reforms, who steadfastly contributed to the struggle for independence with dedication. Her first step into the history of freedom struggles began when she actively started leading campaigns against the high revenue collection by the colonial authorities. Watching the Swadeshi movement grow, she soon boycotted British goods Khadi market in Kavali, providing employment to the number of Indians. Her works came to the notice of the British Raj when she actively started organizing committees and mandalis to the struggle of Swaraj to new heights. Her fiery speeches invoked a sense of responsibility in other women, increasing their participation. Her works were not limited to the periphery of political struggle, but were also social struggles and empowered the vulnerable section of society. She was sent to jail for 6 months for her participation in salt satyagraha. But this did not dampen her spirit, and she stood underrated through rough circumstances. In the second wave of the civil disobedience movement, her electrifying speeches slayed the enemy and invaders, which resulted in her yet another 1-year-long imprisonment. This time, around her health was severely impacted and her body found it difficult to deal with the situation. This story of a compassionate social worker and a great youth women leader is worth commemorance.
Tadapati Venkataraju. Tadapati Venkataraju was resident of village Almur, Rajolu, East Godavari district, Andhra Pradesh. He belonged to Kshatriya community. He took part in civil disobedience movement in 1930. On the occasion of Venkateshwara Swami Car Festival in Vadapalli on 30th March 1931, along with the deity, tricolor flag and photos of Mahatma Gandhi and some other national leaders were placed on the chariot. It was objected by the government officials, and when the procession was about to start, the sub-inspector of Rajwalu removed portraits of the national leaders. People resented the act and refused to draw the curve without the portraits. Over this issue, a riot broke out at Chinnavadapalli. Police arrested some and lathi charged others, and the crowd retaliated by throwing stones and mud on the police. Police retaliated by indiscriminatory firing on the crowd. Venkataraju became a victim of the police firing. He was shot while proceeding to the riverbank and died immediately. Thank you.
May I now request our Registrar in charge, Dr. Dinesh P. Shankar Reddy, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Respected Director and today's Chief Guest, Professor C.S.P. Rao Garu, all the faculty members, non-teaching staff, security personnel, IMS, their students, press and media, very good morning to all of you. Indeed, it's a pleasure for me to propose vote of thanks on this 73rd Republic Day celebrations. First and foremost, I thank our Director, Professor C.S.P. Rao Garu, for briefing the overall development of NIT Andhra Pradesh during the past 1 year, as well as appreciating all the people who have involved in the overall development of the institute. Because of his vision, as well as his dedicated efforts and constant motivation behind all the members of the institute is progressing very rapidly, as well it has earned its name in India. Then I thank the people behind organizing this particular program, especially the faculty in charge sports, Dr. Kiran Tipati, Dr. Arun Kumar, Associate Dean Faculty Welfare. As Dr. Viresh was not present physically here, he stepped into his shoes and he has meticulously planned many of the things. As well as the SAS department headed by Sandhya Rani, Srinivas and their entire team. And a big thank goes to all the security team headed by Dr. Dharmateja, as well as all the supervisors and security personnel for their scintillating performance in the absence of Mr. Pandey. As well, I thank one and all who has involved to the Department of Electronics and Communication, Web and Network, and the estate team as well as workshop for making all the arrangements for today's event. And especially I thank Ms. Gayatri and Vineshri, who have been the masters of ceremony, as well as they have now given the brief outlines, which are very enticing. And many of these unsung heroes, except one or two, I don't know rest of them. Maybe the same applies to the others also. It's a nice initiative which you have taken, wherein we could able to know about some of the unsung heroes behind our freedom movement. So once again, thank the press and media for wide coverage of this event, as well Dr. Sandeep, who is always the first man to send these press notes to both English as well as Telugu media houses, so that the name of NIT Andhra Pradesh is now widespread among India. I thank one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request everyone to please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण वंदन दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I request everybody to join us to praise our motherland with exaltation. Bharat Mata Ki Jai thrice.
भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, NIT आंध्र प्रदेश की जय, NIT आंध्र प्रदेश की जय, NIT आंध्र प्रदेश की जय।
Thank you, everyone.
Hello.